Hey guys, how you doing? I am doing a comparison with the second and third pattern M55 Flak jacket. On an unrelated note, I am pretty pissed off. I won a bid for a first pattern M55 last night on eBay, and my check from work does not clear until tomorrow afternoon. And the buyer says if I don't pay within the end of today, he is going to cancel the order and relist it. If anyone has any insight on that, if the seller can actually do that, please let me know. So I actually am posting this today instead of later on in the week like it plans. So expect 2 videos today. So the third pattern is going to John, and then I'm getting another second pattern in, and I'm going to trade that second pattern back for the third pattern. It's very confusing, but if everything goes well, I will still have a second and third pattern by the end of the month. So getting started. Both of these flak jackets actually started production in 1967. The second pattern right here started production in probably I think November 1967, while this one started production later in 1967. The second pattern is far more common as it was produced all the way up to the early 80s. Third pattern is more scarce. I believe they stopped producing during Vietnam. I couldn't get an exact date. I was reading some forms. I couldn't really get an exact date when they stopped production of the third pattern, but it is also pretty much known as an Okinawa rebuild. So when you hear that, what it basically means was plates from destroyed vests were being taken from second and first patterns, and those plates are being used for the third pattern, which is made out of nylon, while the first and second were made from poplin. Now, you might be asking why. It's because it's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper to reuse plates and make a whole new nylon body. I think it cost like $9 or something around there to do for the government versus buying a whole new flak jacket, which I think cost them around $40 at the time, which was a lot of money, and it really saved on taxpayer dollars. I guess that's probably the first and last time I've ever heard of the government trying to conserve taxpayer dollars. So, moving on to the first, there are supposed to be 2 nylon pockets, one right here and one right here. Now, the whole vest is poplin, but there's supposed to be a nylon pocket here and a nylon pocket there. I'm not going to say any names, but I believe John Padua got rid of the nylon pockets. Other than that, it is basically a first pattern now, minus the stamping on the inside, which marks it as May 7th, 1968. And we know by 1968 the second pattern was being produced. So a couple comparisons, because it is very difficult to find the difference. Any second or third pattern will have this little pocket up here. If it's about a pack of cigarettes, sorry, it's modern cigarettes. If it's about a pack of cigarettes, or I think if it's a 20-round magazine too for the M16, which funny enough, troops are being given M16s. Actually, never mind. I'd say troops did have M16s at the time when these were being first given out. But you can actually see both these jackets in way, and the second pattern is the most common seen throughout the war. It's seen through the ends, and like I said, it was being produced in the early 80s. And I believe some reserve units were using these up to the 90s. So moving on to a main difference you can probably see besides the material and besides the pockets is the second pattern does not have exposed buttons like this in the pockets. So keep that in mind. And the top of the buttons here, this is curved, right? And it's squared off. The second pattern has one shooter's cord. This is where the butt of the stock would go against. Well, the third has 2. One there, one here. So this is not too hard to tell them apart. I mean, they both have like canvas bottoms for the 1910 hangers, because you can actually hang 1910 gear in the back. Let's say you have a JFAC. You don't want that on your gear. You can put it on here so when you ditch the flak, you ditch the JFAC. But keep in mind, Marines were supposed to wear flak jackets at all times in Vietnam. Now, for those coming new to reenacting, I'm sorry, if you're doing Marines, don't start Marines. It's way more expensive, and no, you cannot get away with the M69 or 3/4 collar flak jacket. I don't care what your cousins, aunts, uncles, dog's fucking brother had in Vietnam. Honestly, I think when they're being shot at in Vietnam, they're not really trying to take notes on what gear they are wearing. If you do your research, you're going to have one of these, and you will get destroyed for wearing a 3/4 flak jacket for Marines. Don't do it. I don't care what they have in Full Metal Jacket. Don't do it by any means necessary. If you're first starting off, go with Army. It's a lot easier because you don't need a rucksack, and the pressure's a little bit cheaper, and the gear is cheaper, especially when you're using M61 gear for Marine Corps. So that's the main differences here. I mean, I had some trouble telling them apart when I first started reenacting, but now that I get more comfortable with it, I can tell them apart pretty easily. So it's really interesting too when you think about it. We went from no armor at all to knights and suits and armors, dumbing down. You see American Revolution, you see no helmets, no armor, no nothing. Coming back up to World War I, helmets. Moving back on, we have body armor being introduced, and now guys are back into full suits of armor. So it's really interesting to see. I mean, this isn't even, I think it'll maybe stop maybe a 9mm. I wouldn't imagine any rifle rounds being stopped by this. They are fragmentation vests, and they're meant to help prevent against frag rounds from killing you and penetrating your body, but that didn't always work. So they're both used with plates. Honestly, I prefer these over 3/4. I mean, has a nice collar. The collar is not too bulky like the 3/4 where you feel like you're being suffocated. And you can breathe a lot more in these. So that's my comparison. I mean, I kind of went off topic, but basically, material is nylon. This can be used for late war. Honestly, I'd recommend using it 69 on. And the second patterns you can use from late 67 to the end of the war. So that's about it. I'll do a little side to the back. There's the side. There's the side, and there is the back. So there are plates. You can see kind of the difference between the M69 where they're going for a more like Kevlar vest type deal in the plates. So Kevlar is nice in between with like the M69 material and the plates. I mean, I think the plates make too much noise. It's a lot more flexible and movable, honestly. You might not think it, but I prefer wearing one of these over M69 or 3/4 vest. I personally, over the years, have grown to despise them more and more as I wear them more and more at events. So thank you so much for watching. Sorry for the quick video. I wish I could go in more detail. I'm really hoping that this first pattern goes through and this guy does not get too much of a Jew on me, and I can do a first versus third pattern and maybe have all 3 M55s together. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.